All right, Scott Coker, welcome to Fight Sphere, your first time here.
Yes.
When did you get in? Did you get in today? Or?
No, I got in Tuesday and went straight to the room and took my test yesterday. Was in quarantine all day and excited to be here. This is going to be a fun event.
Absolutely. Now that you've had the chance to kind of check it out in person, I know you're probably watching closely on TV. Talk to me. What do you think of the setup here? How things are run? Is it living up to expectations?
Yeah, I've been following every step of the way, and we get a lot of videos, a lot of FaceTime, and a lot of direct contact with my guys because this is really important. This is something that is necessary by the company, mandatory. It's the right thing to do, and I feel really good about how we set it up. And I told my guys, I said, look, I'm so proud of you because really we're not in this business. What I mean by that is the COVID business, right? We are in the COVID business now because of the situation, but we adapted quickly, and they set this whole thing up with the workout rooms and all the fighters and everything, social distancing, all the weigh-in, check-in with the temperatures and the testing. I mean, my team arranged all that for the fighters and for us to continue. And so, it was nice to see it happen, and it's nice to be here and see it happen. So, I'm excited about watching the fights. I think it's going to be a little bit surreal because, there's no audience. I've been watching a lot of fights on TV, whether it's boxing or MMA, and I can say that I think that we have probably the best set design and the whole experience. I think it's very, very entertaining, and I think that the last 2 weeks proved it, and I hope that we have some good fights and something the fans can enjoy on Friday.
I didn't get to talk to you, obviously this being your first event. I didn't get to talk to you the first week when I took a little tour, but just wanted to kind of get from your perspective, how difficult was it to be able to set something up like this? Obviously, there's a lot of paperwork involved, and can you just talk me through how you said you're not in the COVID business until now? So can you talk about that transition?
I mean, obviously, we were here on the middle of March 13th. I believe March 13th we were here, and when we shut the fight down, and it was a decision that we made, the afternoon of the fight, and so it was unfortunate, but it was necessary, and to be here, it's kind of ironic to be back here to relaunch Bellator series. And for about, when I got home, it really was, we were on lockdown. It was like a shelter in place as soon as I got home. And our county locked down, I think one of the first counties locked down in Santa Clara. So everything was on pause. And really people didn't know what was going to happen. Was it going to be 2 weeks? Was it going to be 2 months? Nobody knew and still don't know. And so when we got the green light to start exploring how we're going to do this, we're very fortunate to have a parent company that has a lot of resources, access to infectious disease doctors, human resources executives, a team that really the task force, the COVID task force, basically helped guide this process and said, okay, you need to make sure this is covered and this is covered. And they really like the fact that this is kind of a bubble, right? You go right from your hotel room to here, and then this is kind of the path, right? I mean, I've been here for two days, and really I've just seen the hotel room and I've seen this setup, and that's pretty much it, except for taking my test yesterday. Yeah. So, that's kind of the experience that they really enjoy, because I think if you're not in a bubble, there's going to be problems. I think the sports that have gone into the bubble, like boxing, MMA, basketball, have proven that, that it works and it can be effective. But, that was something that I felt important, the company felt was important. And, my guys, my team, the same team that puts on fights, made all this happen. So I'm very excited for them and proud of them. And this is going to be a great night.
Okay, I'm going to ask you about some fighters now.
Sure.
Michael Chandler just fought out his contract. Mm-hmm. Obviously a big storyline. He's been tweeting things hinting at maybe a UFC fight against Dustin Poirier. Mm-hmm. Can you tell me from your perspective what you're hoping to, are you guys looking to re-sign him? Have you guys had the conversations yet?
Well, I know we're in dialogue, and I know that there'll be a conversation, a serious conversation here. I think probably this coming week. And we've been talking to Michael for a while, and he wanted to test free agency. And look, so, it's like free agency is a great it's a great opportunity for the fighter, right? And, I don't even think Michael knows where he's going to end up at this point. So, if we sign him, I think we have some great fights ahead for him. I mean, I think, I'm sure he wants to fight Pitbull again, because that was, a big win for Pitbull. And, I think that you'll see a lot of 155-pounders coming into our company, growing from our company. I think you'll see a lot of guys fighting at 145, moving up to 155, and I think Pitbull proved that it can be effective. So, listen, free agency, it works both ways, right? But, we love Michael Chandler. He's been a great ambassador for the company, and let's see what happens.
For sure. And you talk about Pitbull. What's the latest on the tournament? I mean, how are you guys going to proceed with, obviously, we haven't seen those fights. Is that something we're going to see resume in the pandemic, or?
Yes. And the issue really was that, the travel ban coming into the country was an issue. But we actually resolved that now. And so now we are, talking directly to the White House. And I think that the department is the Homeland Security Department. And they've been issuing some visas for us for some of our fighters. So I'm excited to have some of our big fighters come back, because really it was kind of hindering the matchmaking a little bit too, because we couldn't have any foreign fighters come into the country. And but that doesn't mean we're still not going to go to Europe and throw events, closed arenas just like this, because we have so many fighters there. I think we have 150 fighters under contract in Europe, and we got to fight them because we're not going to be able to get them all over here. So we're talking about maybe in October working something out, going to Europe and doing fights in either London or Italy somewhere, and recreating this bubble and making sure it's a safe environment and get those guys busy.
Yep. And one of the fighters, talking about travel, obviously, I was a bit surprised to see Fedor here. How much have you guys talked? Obviously, his retirement tour is supposed to be a big, thing where there's fans and they get to wish him well, see him last time in Japan or Russia or whatever, and now there's no fans. So how hesitant are you to start this retirement tour in sort of an empty arena?
I mean, when we signed Fedor for the last 3 fights, we didn't expect him to fight in America to begin with, right? So we thought about Japan, maybe somewhere in Europe, and then somewhere in probably Moscow was where we want to finish. That hasn't changed. It's just now we have a little beat now because of the COVID situation. So, we're going to see how it goes, because Europe is starting to open up a little bit, where you can actually have some fans, right? And the numbers are way down, and they kind of have it under control. I think, a little bit better than we do. So, we couldn't do it here, but we could do there and maybe have some fans. I think Japan. I talked to Sakibara-san from Ryzen, and he had like half of the arena. And I think football will be a test here, because I heard some of the arenas some of the games are going to be open to 22% of the fans or 30%. So let's see how that goes, and let's see how it goes here, and let's see how it goes in Europe. But I mean, listen, Fedor has to fight in front of fans, right? It's like, I think that's the same reason why you don't see all the MMA stars fighting right now, because it's like they need the fans there to support it. So. Fedor's the same way. I mean, he's the greatest heavyweight of all time, and for me, it's like it'd be a shame to fight in an arena where there's nobody there to watch, his last 2 fights. So we're gonna play it by ear, and this is actually the first time I've seen Fedor since March 13th. We said goodbye here, and I said I'll see you soon, and I didn't realize it would be 5 or 6 months later. So we'll sit down and talk to Fedor tonight and explain the whole thing to him. But I think that. Hopefully by the end of the year, this thing will have its own little process, and we'll be able to go back into the live event business and go into arenas and have fans in the beginning of next year.
Okay, just a couple more from me. Free agent right now, Fabricio Werdum. At the UFC press conference, he kind of was talking about a fight with Fedor. He's somebody that you've been associated with in the past. Is that something you guys are interested in, potentially bringing him to Bellator or having him fight Fedor?
I love Fabricio, and it's something really that is Fedor's decision. If one of the things I'm going to talk to Fedor about tonight is this an important fight for you? And whatever he says, then we'll go make happen. Because if it's an important fight to him, then we'll probably put it together. And if not, then it doesn't mean we won't still pursue Fabricio, but the fight with him and Fedor would be something that if it was an important revenge type scenario for Fedor in his mind, and it's something he still eats at him every day, then I think that'd be something that we'd be interested in. But on the other hand too, it's like if you beat Fedor Emelianenko, doesn't mean you're Fedor Emelianenko either, right? And so to me, Fabricio's had a great career. I think that was like the in 2009 when he submitted Fedor, that was like a launch point for him, and he's done a great job. And he's I call him a personal friend. and we stay in touch, and let's see what happens.
Yep, and 2 more questions from me. Mousasi versus Lima, what's the status on that? Is that a fight you guys are still trying to have happen, or with the travel, is that become an issue?
No. Listen, Gegard got his visa now, so he'll be able to enter the country. But we are in the process of setting a date right now for that fight, and I feel like all the big fights are going to happen. All the big fights that we promised the fans before this happened, like the Ryan Bader fight, against Nemkov, and Cyborg will be back, before the end of the year. Gegard will fight Lima before the end of the year. I mean, all the big fights that and the tournament will resume before the end of the year. So all the big fights that we promised are going to happen, and we have a hefty schedule. We got a ton of fights to promote, and between I think the European series and what we're doing here, I mean, you might see another 10, 13 fights before now in December.
Awesome. Last one for me. Corey Anderson, you just signed him.
Yeah.
Obviously, a big signing for you guys. Talk to me about the why you brought him on, what you expect from him, and maybe is there anything in the works for him at this point?
I got to meet him, had breakfast with him in D.C. probably about 2 weeks ago, and he's been training with D.C. And D.C. said, hey, you got to take a look at this kid. And at the same time, Rich and Mike were saying, hey, we should really sign him. I mean, he's a top 4 or 5 guy in the world. He'll be a great addition to our 205 division. And listen, with Jon Jones moving up to heavyweight, I mean, I think we have the best 205-pound weight class, on the planet right now. With Bader, Gegard wants to move up to fight in. We have Machida, we have Corey Anderson now, and we have a bunch of killers in that weight class. So to me, it's like we have a great roster of fights for him. And I think he and Phil Davis, right? Phil Davis and Corey, and I mean, we'll be able to put some great fights together in that division. So I'm excited about that division, 205.
Well, I appreciate the time. Nice seeing you, and good luck with tomorrow night.
Thank you so much. Let me put my mask back on now.